the other stuff that Xamarin announced were some of their new preview technologies. So they have a Xamarin Profiler which you can download. It's available to download on Windows and on Mac. And that allows you to run, as you're running your app profile, run this profiler, check what the object allocations are, what the usage is, all that good stuff. And just, monitor your app for memory leaks and see where you can improve performance. What objects are being allocated? Are they being released properly? So that's awesome. They also included an update to Objective Sharpie, which is a command line tool that they've had for a little while now, which enables you to take an Objective-C library and create an iOS binding so that you can use it in your Xamarin projects. So if there's like a third-party library out there that you really like, but it's only written in Objective-C, well, you can create an iOS binding for it. But they've taken it one step further where they've added CocoaPod integration. So if there's a CocoaPod that you want to use in your app, you can use the command line tool to bring that CocoaPod in and create the bindings for you. So if it's an Objective-C native library, a CocoaPod library, and I believe also an Xcode project, you can create an iOS binding from. So, and that's also a command line tool that you have to download separately. But once you download it, and it's only available on Mac, obviously, you can extend your application, reuse other libraries through that. So it's pretty nice. And then Inspector. I'm going to show you Inspector. Probably, I want to show it to you on the MacBook. Maybe I'll switch the views so that you can see it a little bit better. But Inspector is really nice. So when you're running your iOS or Android app, you can view the current view and inspect each element at runtime. So I can select an element on the view, and then it'll say that view is selected, and it'll tell me it's a button. And then I can affect properties on that button at runtime or whatever view is selected. Okay? Has anyone used like XAML Spy before? No? Okay, it kind of reminded me of that. So it's really neat. I'll show it to you because I think it's better to show it so you can get a good understanding of what that means, like what it really is about. So I'm going to load up this app called Coffee Tip. I'm going to run it, and while it's running, I'm going to launch the inspector, and then we'll see what magic it can do. If it loads. Come on, MacBook. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to run the iOS solution just in my simulator. Great. So Coffee Tip is loaded. As you can see, it's another oldie but goodie from James Montemagno. He developed this app. So now, as soon as the app's running, you'll notice this button here becomes enabled. That is the button to launch the inspector. So, I believe if I should also be, I don't know where the menu item is on this one, but I know the button. So there's the button. I'll launch the inspector. Okay, that doesn't look very exciting, right? Like big deal. This is looks like a blank screen. So I'm going to switch to my 3D view so that I can pick what view I want to work with. And there we go. So now I have a view of the layers in this application. Right? Pretty neat, huh?
Can you zoom into the view? Like if you want to deal with something in the middle of that block of stuff at the back, can you go into that? Or do you have to twist it around until you get to
Yeah, I think you have to twist it. I don't have a zoom feature here that I can see.
So is the idea that it's showing each individual widget in its own layer?
Yeah, so pretty much. So as you can see, so here's the main view. It's just repeated right through to the front, but as it's adding each layer on. So I think at each point.
What does the base layer have? Does it have a bunch of objects on it too?
Yeah, you can still see it all. I totally have. This is the back side.
So there are already a bunch of objects.
Yeah, it's
The
just.
difference between one and the next is what, like an object added?
That's a good question. So let's
It
pick
looks
this
like it's
back
a
one.
reflection of the form.
You could start in at the front and just adding the controllers.
There's
whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a,
Well, it looks
it's a
like going from the
combination.
front to the back.
Yeah.
You look at the layers on the left side.
That's how they cover to
So as you can see here is like the full
Right.
form, but this is,
In other words, it's like the order it's
Yeah.
in.
and then that's just the view for the actual application, but then that's the top layer, but yeah, the way it's rendered, it's really neat. But it looks like they're all the same across here, but just the different layers. So they're all the same, right?
I'm guessing that tag thing on the left side there, it's your cursors are tracing that.
Yeah, so you can
So you
see,
click on one of
you can
those.
see the IR
Oh, it'll
key.
highlight.
Yeah, you can see the IR key through here as well. So you start off with a window, you have a view, and you have another view. So let me try and, okay. So you have your window, but it doesn't select it in that. But you can see the properties related to the view that you're selecting right here. So there's a lot of UI views in here, which I'm not too fond of. Then I have the first UI switch is like the at Starbucks switch. So I'm selecting that. That's the first one. Let's say that's there.
Oh, click the label.
But you can see the properties here are changing based on the view that I'm selecting. So you want to pick the label. There we go. Right there. So there's the label. It's showing me that label text right here. But I can also go back here. And as I've selected things, you can see that it's setting it in this kind of like this ruffle window. So now I can say, oh, okay, well, what does my selected view look like? So I'm going to say selected view. Well, then that shows me an image of what that view looks like. Then I can say, okay, well, I don't want it to say at Starbucks anymore. So I'm going to change that. So let's see. Oh, where's my CTTD nug? Did it not like that?
Maybe it didn't like the question.
Huh.
You can start at the end where,
Yeah. Oh, maybe it's wrapping.
Yeah, too.
It's probably wrapping. So let's say at UG. There we go. Yeah. The all caps made it wrap. Okay. So then I can pick other properties that I can affect change on or just inspect more. So. Yeah. Shadow colors, no. So I can, not only can I change properties, I can just see the value of a property at any given time, or what the view looks like. So I can go back into that window and say, like, select something else, and then do the same and just affect that change. And it will, not only, you'll see it in this view, but you'll see it in the simulator as well.
This inspector thing, I'm assuming this is also related to Visual Studio.
It is, and I'm going to show you the difference, because in Visual Studio you don't have this 3D view.
Oh, okay. So
But
Mac users get that. Windows users
yeah, Windows users don't. So let's take a look.
You get the coffee.
Yes.
Again, that inspect app button, it should become enabled. So there we go. So I'll launch that. And I don't know why this is all black. But at this point, once it actually loads, what I would see here is the actual view, and then I could say select a view, and then I should be able to pick the view that I want. So I don't know why it's, let me just stop this and try again. One more time, and if I can't get it to work, then we're out of luck.
Can you save those properties you're changing while you're in that inspector? Like right away?
It affects the change at runtime of what you're currently doing, but as soon as you stop, it's done.
There's no facility to say, this is what
Apply
I
it?
want. Yeah, I like it.
Oh, like, so if you change a color and you're like, I want this color.
Yes.
Yeah, no, not that I could see. But I'll go back and ask about that. That's a good feature.
Well, yeah, you're running it, change, accept.
Yeah, it'd be nice to export it to some kind of XAML file that you can,
Import after the fact, maybe.
there's a project for you.
There's a project for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Value added, it could be a value added reseller now.
Oh, great.
You just talk yourself into it.
Very nice.
Two more years of work.
Ah, this thing.